Introduction to the Carbon Market. Theoretical Foundations of Carbon Pricing. The global carbon market represents a sophisticated economic apparatus engineered to mitigate the accelerating crisis of anthropogenic climate change by systematically internalizing environmental externalities. Recognizing that the Earth possesses a singular, shared atmosphere, the precise geographical location where greenhouse gases are emitted or reduced is scientifically irrelevant to cumulative planetary greenhouse effect. Consequently, if a coalition of governments or private corporations legally commits to a stringent atmospheric carbon budget, the optimal strategy is to facilitate emission reductions wherever they are most technologically feasible and cost-effective. To operationalize this abstract theoretical concept, international policymakers have established highly structured carbon markets, encompassing diverse compliance and voluntary frameworks that legally or financially compel high-emitting entities to compensate for their atmospheric pollution. These multifaceted market-based climate mechanisms fundamentally hinge upon the foundational premise that attaching a tangible, inescapable financial cost to carbon dioxide and its equivalents catalyzes a systemic macroeconomic shift. By aggressively degrading the competitive advantage of fossil fuel-intensive products and heavily subsidizing low-carbon technological innovations, these pricing mechanisms shift global capital flows toward sustainable infrastructure. However, seamlessly establishing a unified, perfectly efficient global carbon market remains a monumental governance challenge fraught with intricate regulatory obstacles. Significant systemic risks persist, particularly concerning the proliferation of regulatory loopholes, inconsistent jurisdictional accounting standards, and fraudulent claims that can catastrophically undermine the ultimate environmental objective. Consequently, a rigorous, exhaustive analysis of carbon pricing architectures, spanning multilateral treaties, national emissions trading systems, and voluntary crediting methodologies, is absolutely paramount for comprehensively understanding how these markets effectively function and evolve. The polluter pays principle and economic drivers. At the absolute core of all direct carbon pricing architectures resides a polluter pays principle, an uncompromising environmental and economic doctrine that legally forces emitting entities to bear the full financial burden of their greenhouse gas externalities. By explicitly attaching a monetary cost to the continuous release of atmospheric pollutants, governments and regulatory bodies generate profound, immediate behavioral changes among multinational corporations and private individuals alike. Businesses are consequently compelled to treat these environmental liabilities precisely as they would any standard operational expense, aggressively seeking out internal efficiencies and technological innovations to decisively minimize their overarching financial exposure and simultaneously maximize their global market share. As carbon-intensive production processes become increasingly cost-prohibitive under these rigid regulatory regimes, low-carbon products and renewable alternatives organically achieve unprecedented market competitiveness without necessitating perpetual government subsidization. Furthermore, carbon pricing functions as an exceptionally powerful green fiscal policy instrument, unlocking massive streams of sovereign revenue that governments can strategically reallocate to fund critical climate adaptation measures or offset the regressive economic impacts of rising energy costs. When meticulously designed within a broader, holistic climate policy architecture, these direct pricing instruments, which predominantly manifest as either statutory carbon taxes or highly sophisticated emissions trading systems, seamlessly align disparate economic incentives with the urgent imperatives of global decarbonization. Ultimately, ensuring the enduring efficacy of the polluter pays principle requires continuous, adaptive regulatory oversight to absolutely guarantee that the imposed carbon price remains sufficiently punitive to drive absolute emission reductions rather than merely functioning as an acceptable cost of doing business. Structural taxonomy, cap-and-trade versus offsetting. To comprehensively deconstruct the structural mechanics of the global carbon market, one must carefully distinguish between two fundamentally distinct architectural paradigms: cap-and-trade emissions trading systems and baseline and credit offsetting mechanisms. In a rigorous cap-and-trade framework, a central governmental authority dictates an absolute, legally binding upper limit or cap on the total aggregate volume of greenhouse gases that regulated industrial facilities are collectively permitted to emit over a specific, multi-year compliance cycle. Covered entities are subsequently allocated or competitively auctioned emission allowances, each explicitly representing the legal right to release exactly 1 metric ton of carbon dioxide equivalent into the atmosphere. Crucially, because this mandatory allowance cap progressively declines over time, companies are heavily incentivized to rapidly decarbonize their operations. Those that successfully overachieve their reduction targets can profitably sell their surplus allowances to less efficient competitors on a highly liquid secondary exchange. Conversely, a baseline and credit offsetting mechanism functions under a completely different temporal and environmental logic. Rather than trading localized pollution permits for future industrial emissions, offsetting mechanisms exclusively generate tradable carbon credits based on verified environmental mitigation activities that have already occurred in the past. These specific credits are rigorously calculated by measuring the absolute difference between a hypothetical business-as-usual emissions baseline and the actual, physically verified atmospheric reductions achieved by a discrete project. While emissions trading systems mathematically guarantee an absolute reduction in aggregate jurisdictional pollution, traditional offsetting inherently represents a zero-sum environmental game, merely balancing ongoing industrial emissions in one location with verified reductions achieved elsewhere. The Kyoto Protocol and legacy offsetting mechanisms. The historical foundation of modern international offsetting architectures is inextricably linked to the Kyoto Protocol, which pioneered the earliest iterations of multilateral carbon trading through instruments like the Clean Development Mechanism and joint implementation. Designed to theoretically allow wealthy, industrialized nations to cost-effectively fulfill their binding emission reduction targets, the Clean Development Mechanism enabled these countries to aggressively finance localized mitigation projects across the developing world in exchange for certified emission reductions. Simultaneously, the joint implementation framework facilitated comparable environmental asset transfers between developed nations through the issuance of emission reduction units, directly corresponding to the cancellation of sovereign assigned amount units to strictly maintain aggregate ledger balance. However, the operational legacy of these Kyoto-era mechanisms is heavily marred by profound structural failures and intense scientific criticism regarding the fundamental lack of environmental additionality. Rigorous retrospective analyses definitively revealed that a substantial majority of registered projects would have organically proceeded without any supplemental carbon financing, rendering the associated emission reductions entirely non-additional and generating catastrophic global atmospheric inflation. Furthermore, these archaic frameworks frequently neglected vital social safeguards, occasionally resulting in severe, unintended localized harms, including the forceful displacement of indigenous populations and the outright destruction of critical biodiversity habitats to accommodate massive monoculture plantations or large-scale hydroelectric infrastructure. Recognizing these profound existential shortcomings, international climate negotiators decisively resolved that the deeply flawed Clean Development Mechanism could absolutely not persist indefinitely, necessitating a radical, uncompromising overhaul of the multilateral carbon architecture heading into the pivotal post-2020 regulatory landscape. The Kyoto Protocol and legacy offsetting mechanisms. The historical foundation of modern international offsetting architectures is inextricably linked to the Kyoto Protocol, which pioneered the earliest iterations of multilateral carbon trading through instruments like the Clean Development Mechanism and joint implementation. Designed to theoretically allow wealthy, industrialized nations to cost-effectively fulfill their binding emission reduction targets, the Clean Development Mechanism enabled these countries to aggressively finance localized mitigation projects across the developing world in exchange for certified emission reductions. Simultaneously, The Joint Implementation Framework facilitated comparable environmental asset transfers between developed nations through the issuance of emission reduction units, directly corresponding to the cancellation of sovereign assigned amount units to strictly maintain aggregate ledger balance. However, the operational legacy of these Kyoto-era mechanisms is heavily marred by profound structural failures and intense scientific criticism regarding the fundamental lack of environmental additionality. Rigorous retrospective analyses definitively revealed that a substantial majority of registered projects would have organically proceeded without any supplemental carbon financing, rendering the associated emission reductions entirely non-additional and generating catastrophic global atmospheric inflation. Furthermore, these archaic frameworks frequently neglected vital social safeguards, occasionally resulting in severe, unintended localized harms, including the forceful displacement of indigenous populations and the outright destruction of critical biodiversity habitats to accommodate massive monoculture plantations or large-scale hydroelectric infrastructure. Recognizing these profound existential shortcomings, international climate negotiators decisively resolved that the deeply flawed clean development mechanism could absolutely not persist indefinitely, necessitating a radical, uncompromising overhaul of the multilateral carbon architecture heading into the pivotal post-2020 regulatory landscape. The Paris Agreement and Article 6 modernization. The formal ratification of the Paris Agreement profoundly disrupted and aggressively modernized the multilateral climate architecture, permanently superseding the largely obsolete Kyoto Protocol and establishing unprecedented legal foundations for international market-based cooperation. Explicitly codified within Article 6 of the agreement, these new, highly sophisticated regulatory guidelines provide sovereign nations with universally standardized mechanisms to collaboratively achieve and subsequently exceed their respective nationally determined contributions. A paramount priority during the grueling, multi-year negotiations surrounding the Article 6 rulebook was the absolute eradication of systemic double counting, a catastrophic accounting flaw, where a single metric ton of emission reductions could theoretically be claimed simultaneously by both the host nation and the purchasing entity. To definitively resolve this existential threat to environmental integrity, the framework introduced the uncompromising mandate of the corresponding adjustment under this austere accounting protocol. Whenever an emission reduction is physically authorized and transferred across international borders, the host nation must explicitly mathematically deduct that precise reduction from its own national greenhouse gas inventory. Furthermore, the modernized Paris architecture firmly rejects the archaic, zero-sum dynamics of the past by formally enshrining the principle of overall mitigation in global emissions. This critical mandate unequivocally demands that global market mechanisms transcend mere localized offsetting, requiring the automatic, mandatory cancellation of a specified percentage of generated credits to guarantee a net positive atmospheric benefit for the entire planet. These rigorous, legally binding guardrails ultimately restore vital institutional confidence in international carbon markets, ensuring that cooperative approaches actively accelerate global decarbonization trajectories. Article 6.2 Sovereign Cooperative Approaches. Operating as a highly decentralized, bilaterally focused pillar of the Paris Agreement's sprawling market framework, Article 6.2 empowers sovereign nations to directly negotiate customized, trans-border cooperative approaches to physically exchange internationally transfer mitigation outcomes. By formally authorizing the seamless international transfer of these rigorously quantified emission reductions, the mechanism allows developed nations facing exorbitant domestic abatement costs to efficiently fulfill their nationally determined contributions by financing highly impactful mitigation projects located entirely within developing host countries. As this diplomatic infrastructure matures, unprecedented landmark transactions are beginning to successfully materialize on the global stage. For instance, Ghana, operating in close partnership with Vanuatu and the Swiss Federal Office for the Environment, proudly launched the world's first operational projects officially governed under the new Article 6.2 mechanism. Facilitated directly by the United Nations Development Program, this groundbreaking cooperative framework explicitly focuses on deploying revolutionary climate-smart agricultural infrastructure across Ghana. The United Nations Development Program strategically channels the international payments for these mitigation outcomes to private sector project proponents through an innovative payment for result mechanism, which heavily incentivizes massive upfront private capital investments by decisively lowering sovereign risks. Remarkably, under the specific cooperative arrangement, leveraged private sector investments have proven to be equivalent to 4 times the aggregate carbon payments generated by the transferred mitigation outcomes. To robustly support this surging volume of bilateral commerce, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change is actively deploying sophisticated digital tracking infrastructure, including the centralized accounting and reporting platform, to guarantee absolute cross-border interoperability. Bilateral agreement metric status as of April 2026. Total bilateral agreements /MAUs 108 signed agreements. Leading sovereign buyers Japan, Singapore, Switzerland. Active transfer mechanism internationally transferred mitigation outcomes, ITMOs. Notable successful pilot transfers Switzerland and Ghana, agriculture. Japan and Maldives, energy. Primary global governance, UNFCCC International Registry, and CARP.